Here we go. First and foremost, good evening. My name is Joseph Paul Passes Javier, and I'm one of the board of directors for Michigan's Council of Asian Pacific Americans, and we want to welcome each and every one of you here, parents, students, and community members alike, to our second webinar series of for incoming college students, high school students that are graduating and getting ready to transition to college, especially amidst this time of COVID-19. The pandemic has changed a whole bunch of things to consider when you're applying for college. So we're happy to help in partnership with Madonna University. So we're saying hi to all of our participants that are here. We have Baljit, Betsy, Chloe, Demario, Izzy, Ginny, Julie, Mary Jane, Tyler, Ryan, Sue, and everyone else that's on the line. I'm sure more people will be matriculating into our webinar as things go. Today's webinar is our second in a three-part series, and it's called Preparing for College Amid COVID-19. Today's subject is how to pay for college and understanding the world of college scholarships. So we'll get into that. We have a guest speaker today who will be navigating each and every one of you through this process. But a few reminders as we get started. Today we are recording today's session, so if you miss anything, you can come back. We'll be uploading them a little bit later on, probably next month, so you can share them with your friends as well. So our session will be recorded if you are on camera or if you're chatting. Those things will be recorded. Make sure to take notes for today's webinar, because there'll be a lot of information, like I said, that will be useful for you, but we'll also have the webinars, all three webinars, posted to our CAPA website by next month. And we're reminding everyone to stay to the end of the session. We have a prize drawing, actually three $50 gift cards for grabs, but you have to stay till the end of our webinar series. And as an incentive, I know we have some people that are returning from the first webinar series. For every extra webinar that you do attend, you have an extra raffle ticket in our hat, per se. It's an online raffle system that we're doing, but the more webinars you attend, the more chances that you have to win. And last but not least, at the end of the session, we have a question and answer portion. So if you have any questions, you can put them into the chat box. I'll collect them, and then I will read them off at the end for our speaker to go over. So for those of you that do not know, if you look on your screen at the bottom right-hand corner, there should be a purple tab. If you click on that, you'll be able to see our chat rooms, the list of participants, and other things, other options that are there. You can mute or unmute yourself. We're asking that everybody keep their microphones muted until we have portions where we ask you to talk, just to keep the background noise down. And if you have any questions along the way, just put them in the chat box and I will get to them at the end. So we're recording. Make sure to take notes, keep your audio muted, stay to the end for our raffle prize drawing, and make sure to post your questions in the chat room box for our guest speaker. And who is our guest speaker for tonight? It is none other than Yahong Yang. She's a financial specialist, born in China, and came to the US when she was 6 years old. And she's grown up in Michigan and has been providing financial services to people in Michigan, New York, and Connecticut since 2015. Yahong educates and helps people with retirement planning, college planning, and protecting the financial future of the ones that you care for the most. Ms. Yang has a bachelor's from the University of Michigan, as well as a master's degree from Western Michigan University. So for today's session, our goals are to help understand the process of financial aid, learn ways to minimize college debt, explore scholarships, grants, and loans, as well as know where and when to start looking. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'll pass things over to our guest speaker today, Ms. Yang Yang.
All right, hello everybody. Can everybody see me and hear me? Let me see. Yes, okay, awesome. All right, well, I want to thank CAPA and also Madonna University for this opportunity for me to share this information. And I definitely congratulate all the high schoolers there to willing to be here to listen about how we pay for college, to really endeavor on how to get to a better future. So let's start with, I guess I'll talk about a little bit about college. So college in the US is quite expensive for most people. I guess that's, in their mind, it's very expensive to attend. So here is how it's breakdown first. So what's the average cost of attendance? So when you look into school, they look at the average tuition and fees. So usually, of course, private college usually tend to be a little more expensive, about $36,000. Then we got the public colleges, university, in-state and out-of-state. So obviously, out-of-state is more expensive. And then, of course, besides tuition and fees, you also got the room and board. But if you live close to the college, you might, obviously save some money being staying at home to live with the parents, so you don't have that room and board. But if you go out of state or you go somewhere that's away from home, you do have to pay for room and board. But the good news is this is called the sticker price, the price that they post up on their website. But the real price people pay is called the net cost of attendance. This is the price where after scholarships, after any financial aid, and any other, type of money you get and grant, then you get the actual net cost of attendance. By looking at this, your actual public four-year school, the average net tuition and fees is about $3,740. So it's a little bit more doable. And also for a private school, after all the scholarships you get, is about $14,000. Now this doesn't include, of course, the room and board, but at least it really significantly decreased. So it's not I guess some people say, well, if this school is so expensive, it's hard to reach right from looking at the sticker price. But if you look through it, it's not as expensive as you think. So on the bottom, you can click on it to see where I got this this graph. So, all right. So next, let's talk about, since I'm from Michigan, I also went to Michigan, and it is one of for me, it's the top school that if you're living in Michigan, man, that's the school I would go to because you don't have to go all the way to another state. It's one of the top schools. And the one good thing is, oh, hold on, someone asked a question. Is the net cost of 10 per year or from all 4 years? That's just for per year. So yeah, the earlier was for per year. Yep. So for the University of Michigan, they actually covers 100% of somebody who does not have financial, like their parents' income is really low, so they don't really have money. So they actually have a lot of endowments, a lot of financial aid for the students. So they actually cover the whole entire 100%, including room and board as well. So if you're looking at here, looking at the income on this side here, someone who is earning 125 to 150K in a family, they still get about $6,500. Average tuition after scholarship and grant is only $10,000. So it's not as big, as large as people think. Of course, if somebody earning about $65,000 or below, that's when 100% is covered. So that's for the need base. If if their parents not earning a whole lot, Michigan really covers it all. And then let's say someone really really smart and want to go to Princeton. They have the same thing. If you are between the income of $0 to $65,000 with the parents earning that much, then you really 100% is also being granted for including full tuition and college fee, room and board. And if you look at here, based on the income, you can see even at 160,000 income, about 100% qualify. And about 47,000, which is 91% of tuition, are being paid by their grant. And the one thing that people gotta have to know is the bigger colleges, the more well-known colleges, they tend to get more endowment funds. They get a lot more money from the state. They get a lot more money from, of course, people who donate to them. So the one important thing is, if you get your financial aids early, you get your money earlier because it's first come, first serve. So right here, so it's not a hard way to get. Also, like in catering, they also, like, this is local private school, they also have like scholarships, endowments as well. So how do we pay for college? There's some ways. One way is, of course, if you got lucky, you have some parents who have money, of course, they'll help pay for you. Or students, meaning they have to work and save up the money and pay for their own. And then, of course, finally, if you're super smart, you can get scholarships, athletic scholarships, you can get financial aids. And then also, let's say you went to work for some company, and the company says, I will sponsor you to go to college, get your MBA or get your 4-year degree. They will do that as well. And one, of course, is our military people. They went to serve in the military. They also get a type of course, they pay for college as well. So these are some ways that you can pay for college. Now, the one thing about it is that most people have parents, and they will, the parents will try to pay too if they're lucky. But the thing about it is, when parents pay for it, it also affects their retirement too, because they're taking their money in their retirement every year to pay for the college for their kids. So in a savings account, for instance, they have to use their savings account for their retirement, but then at the same time, it affects their emergency fund. And of course, if they have too much money in the savings, it affects their financial aid, because now they say, well, you have money, that means why would college or government pay for more if there's money involved? Of course, it affects if the same thing is a savings or CDs account, retirement account like a 401k, 403b, it affects that. But the good thing about it is most college, since it's a retirement account in a 401k, they don't really calculate as involved as much that it's the parents' income. Only University of Michigan actually do look at it, but most colleges don't look at it because it's a retirement account. So these are just type of fundings they get. Annuities are like a pension plan that the parents could have and pull it out. And now the biggest thing that most people have is called a 529 plan. It's when maybe someone was born, the parents decided, you know what, might as well put in a few dollars in, $100 in every single month to build that money up. It could be a trust, a 529 plan. Well, in that plan, it affects your financial aid because it is your money. So that is the money that your parents will set aside for you to, to go to college with. And then, of course, it's just a 529 advisor plan. It's similar. It's a state plan that people put it in as well. And then, of course, they can co-sign for your loan. If you go to school and you need a co-signer because there's, maybe you're not eligible for getting a loan and they ask for a co-signer, they could co-sign for your loan. But that also affects their retirement because they're the one that's under the name. If you don't have money to pay for it, they still got to pay for it. And of course, it affects the relationship too. So there's this where, the parents could pay. You got some parents who wants to pay for you. And then we have, of course, students. If the parents, don't have the money for it, then the student will be the one that had to pay for it. So for me, I was both. I have lucky enough that I have my parents I have financial aid, and I have my parents who pay for my undergrad. So I came from a family where my parents only had a middle school education in China. So they came here, they couldn't go to college, obviously, because they didn't pass high school, or they didn't go to high school. So they were working in a restaurant. That's what they did. That's all they do is work in a restaurant. They still don't know how to speak English. So, we basically, for my thing is I have to pay for what I have to pay for, and then I have some financial aid. So you can get a job, but then the issue is it could affect your grade because if you're working so many hours, then you don't have time to focus in school. In the long term, it can delay your graduation, and also you might not get a good job in the future if it takes you a long time to finish. And of course, most people have student loans. If the parents can't pay for it, then the student loans you would have to pay for it. And of course, you can hear some people pay the student loan all the way till they're like retired and they still pay for it. And then of course, the parents had to co-sign it, then they're the one that's also making sure that you pay for it. Now, college financial aid. People should, you guys, well, whoever is going to school already is planning to go to school this coming fall, should already apply for financial aid, because they start every year in October 1st every year. And why get it first? Because the earlier you apply, that means the money you will get. Because at the end, which is toward the end, which is June 31st, you're only getting whatever they have left over. All the rest is being taken out. So it's being taken. So it's first come, first serve. So this is where you have to go online. Guys, get this whole FAFSA form in, the tax in. Then you choose your college. You fill in your FAFSA form. Some schools does need the CSS, but not all of them do. But overall, it's one website. You go on there, put it in there. And then, of course, if you know where you want to go, like you got a letter, you got accepted, go ahead, accept it, because then that's when you know when you will get how much money you'll get from that school. And what type of financial aid scholarships are there? So there's the merit-based scholarship, getting good grades. There's ones where there's a lot of them actually. If you go online and search, there's ones, especially if you're from let's say minority group, especially Asian groups, I guess African Americans, Indian. There's a lot of financial scholarships out there that you can actually apply for that people actually never apply for, because it takes time to write writing up an essay or anything like that. So the merit-based scholarship, engineers, especially women engineer and technology, there's so many different kind of scholarships up there that people put up there. It could be $1,000, some are $500, but if you apply for 100 of them, hey, 1,000 of 100, it's a lot. So you just keep applying. And the biggest one that I know one of my friends got was the Gates Foundation scholarship. That one actually is geared towards a lot more, I think, minorities, but it's actually a full ride scholarship to school. So that one is online. They only select 300 people, but same thing. At least get a chance. Apply, write as many essays you can, and put it in. And then, of course, there's the need-based, it's based on your income. How much income your family have. Now, of course, you work. The issue is if you work and you have income, that does affect your financial aid, because they see it as income and it's your asset. But if it's parents, then it's based on your parents, and that includes you could get grants, of course. That means you don't have to pay back. And there's also subsidized and non-subsidized loans. Now, what is subsidized loan? That means it's your loan, and the government will actually pay for the interest, so you don't have to pay for it. That's why it's called subsidized. Non-subsidized is, of course, the interest is building up. And then there's also a thing called federal work-study funding. So if also need-based, you should click you want to do work-study, because what it is you can apply for a job and you get experience. First of all, you get experience, and two, you pretty much get paid for working there, and it basically lowers your tuition. So it's just a way to get a job. And I was one of them. I did have work study. I was a research at a University of Michigan researcher, and it was it was a nice experience. You get to do all the things you want, and the one thing people don't understand is sometimes you work for a place and they like you, and maybe it's a good department, they will write you a good reference letter. And that's one great thing that happened to me. Because University of Michigan is such a big school, we don't get too much connection with the teachers. But because I did research at the psychology department with a researcher who she had the chairman of the University of Michigan, she wrote me a good reference letter at the end when I applied for grad school. So actually, that worked out really well. So that's why federal work study, it has two benefits. You get money and you get experience, and you never know who you get to see. And then the EFC, I just kind of hide it because it's just what is the expected family contribution. So what they calculate that on, okay, so how much money is a family able to contribute to pay for your IVC college? Now, here is some of the merit base, of course, what they base on, of course, good scores on your SAT, ACT, AP test, and what, throughout your high school years, what have you done? It's not just looking at, okay, you study study all through school, but you didn't really do any extracurricular activities. Well, they're also looking at, okay, did you do some leadership skills? Did you become, what kind of special project did you involve in, found or do that is special? What is that in your vision? Like something that really different that they look at, like, wow, this person is exceptionally, that they're able to do this, they want to do that. So this is the merit base. So it's besides being smart and have grades, you also have to, of course, do extra things. And then, of course, being able to have good communication skills and writing good essays. Now, of course, if writing good essays is not not easy for you, which I have a hard time, then definitely look for someone who knows how to write and have them edit it for you so that they, to make their best essay. And then here are just some of the scholarships that I put in, like the National Merit Scholarship. Here's some corporation ones, like Google, Intel, Science, Talent Search. All those they're looking for, obviously, good people, smart kids to get the scholarships. And then we got, of course, Merit Scholarship. We got the out of state colleges. Uh-oh. Let me see. Let me do the. Can you hear me now? Hello?
I can hear you, yeah.
Can you hear me now? Okay. All right. Now you can hear me. Okay. Good. All right. Okay, good. All right. So the next thing, all right, I was going to talk about the college merit scholarship. These are just some of them. You actually can go to the college you want to go to and just click in merit scholarship. What are the requirements? What do they need? They list it. University of Michigan have it, Kettering have it, of course, pretty much Wayne have it too. So you just have to really just search for it, and they will have it, and you just have to go and log on and, of course, apply for it. And of course, like I said, there's the national one, the Gates Scholarship. That one's a big one. Of course, a lot of people apply, but which is obviously getting it is a lot harder. So if you look for local organizations, usually there are less people applying, so you get it. Your chance of getting it is a lot higher. A lot of schools, if you're exceptionally well, of course, they're just gonna provide you a full ride. But no, just keep looking up and just really have to do the actual work. If you spend a few hours, to look it up and a few hours writing it, it all adds up that you might get, $10,000 altogether or something. So it is really based on your own and looking up to which school has the right scholarship. I know some people who have athletic skills, I don't, but some people have athletic scholarship, but that's that's very particular to people who have the athletic skills. Some people might not, after they go into athletics, what if they want to do something else? Because athletics scholarship, they have to work hard. They got to practice for, basketball, let's say, or tennis, but then they also affects their schooling because now they're working. Uh-oh. So some people can't hear for some reason. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so now let's look at the financial base, which is grants. You don't have to pay back, which is based on your financial needs. And it's, of course, from federal loans, state, college, and private. So they all have it. And the two major ones called the Federal Pell Grant and then the Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant. So these you don't have to pay. You basically, they give it to you once you do the financial aid. You apply for the college you want, you accept the acceptance letter, you will see how much you get. Now, the one thing that I always advise people is this, it happened to me because we're young, we're 18, 19, and we get this amount of money. You get this amount of money, you're like, wow, it pays for your college, and it pays for your room and board, and it actually sometimes have even enough to pay for your books and extra money that's just sitting there. So a lot of times what happens is those money are supposed to be for your school. And sometimes the money is extra. I recommend you save it there for your next semester because it's not free money. It's money that they give it to you. And a lot of times, like for me, I didn't know. I spent the extra money that was there because I didn't know. That was lack of financial, I guess, literacy from my parents. They didn't tell me just, oh, here's some money, just do whatever. So if you get the extra money, you gotta save it. Don't spend it. Same thing if you get loans. The loans are supposed to be for your school. It's not supposed to be for fun, for going out to eat, doing things, because that's how people bail up their student loan. Is not all the money went to student loan. Some money went to other things that they're not supposed to. So eventually, after the college, the loan just got so much bigger. So that's why I say anything you get, just make sure you save it there for the purpose of school only. Okay, so here's some more about, so I guess I was talking about loans. So loans, basically you do have to pay back. So this is where, when you also do financial aid, it will also show how much money you can get from loans. But some people, of course, unfortunately don't even have financial aid, need-based loans. So it's actually from the bank, which is really high in interest rate. But with these, at least it's federal loan. You see how there's the Perkins loan, you got the Stafford loans. You on your bill or on your statement, you'll say if it's subsidized or unsubsidized, the parent Federal Plus loans, and the consolidation loans. So these are all the different loans that you'll see. But the main thing, same thing, make sure whatever you get is a purpose for school. It's not for other things that you might have fun in school with, that you're going to spend the money for things, because that's usually, I think that's what a lot of people see. They look at it and, oh, look, it's just the money in there. I have money, and they spend it. And at the end of the day, instead of having a $30,000 loan, well, I'll say $50,000 college loan, it might turn out to $70,000 because the extra $20,000 were for other things, like a car maybe. So I was saying about a little bit work study, how important it is on the form, make sure you click that, I do accept doing work study where I'm interested in it. So even if you're not interested in it, at the end, you don't have to do it, but at least you get a chance that if there was the work study program, you're eligible for it. Because if you click that you don't want it at all, you don't even get the opportunity to even be in the system again. So, okay. So therefore, when you apply, make sure you say you want to consider for eligibility. So this is kind of like a math. How does it work? How much can a student receive? Cost of attendance. So of course you got the tuition, you got the room and board, you got the allowance, and you got the books. And then of course this is what they calculate for the basically expected family contribution if they use all this. So the biggest thing I tell people is usually they look at 2 years of their parents' income, and they would have to move their income if it's in a savings account, If they can move their income to a retirement account, that means it could lower their income. Now this year it's a bit different because with the COVID, their income might be less because they could be laid off from work. So they could change their financial aid number now. It could be lower. So that means you guys might get more financial aid if the parents have a decrease in income. And then also the one thing I do notice is the first year, generally you get the most amount of financial aid. And then you get the second year, you get a little bit less. The third and the fourth year, you do not get as much at all. So depending on where you go to school, you just have to know, like, okay, the first year you have the extra money. The second year, save that money for the second year. And the third year, if you have more money, you can save it for, because you still gotta have the room and board. Most people in the first year, some schools of course require you to room and board in their dorms the first year, which is really expensive. So for me, when I was at University of Michigan, my first year, of course, I had to stay at the university. And then second year, I decided to go out and rent my apartment, and I get to, of course, have a roommate. But it was actually in a nice place, but it was expensive, but it was still cheaper than, renting in the school. Then the third year, I have three roommates because I need to save money more because I'm getting less amount. And then my fourth year, I lived in a really, 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 really old place that was really cheap. So it was kind of like I had to manage how much I get because every year you get less. And the same thing with going to school is what school you're going to. Like I said earlier, the bigger schools tend to have more money, so they tend to get more financial aid. So it's compare my sister and I. My sister went to Michigan State, and I did the financial aid for her every single year. I happened to do all that for her, and then I did mine, and I was able to see the difference. I was getting more money at University of Michigan, while my sister was getting less. So it's just a different school, even though we're like, income from our parents the same, but depending on the school, you get less money sometimes with the smaller schools. So here more like to look at, like when your parents, this is good for your parents to look at, is when they do apply, what do they look at? So of course they look at your, if they have a 529 account, a Michigan Trust account, of course they're included. They look at their modify. That's why Maggie, modify adjust gross income. So this is looking at someone who have, let's say, a business or something. Their gross income might be different than their actual income. So they could change. They have stocks or mutual funds, that's of course included. If they have checking accounts, a savings account, that's included. A non-qualified annuity is a pension plan that they put their money in. It's not a retirement plan. They will look at it. And also rental properties. If they have a rental property, they also will calculate that as your parents' income. Now, what's not included is their IRA, 401k, 403b, except for University of Michigan. They do look at it. Of course, qualified annuity is just like a retirement account. If they have life insurance cash value, they don't look at it. Their primary, where you live in, they don't look at it. And then the family business, as long as you're not more than 50% owning the business, it's excluded. So these are some things that your parents will need to look at when they are really trying to see what's included and then how they move their money, maybe 2 years before. But of course, most of you guys are already getting towards the, I guess, college year already. Maybe it could be for next year, you guys will get more because of the changes of, job changes. And then here are some websites that, like I said earlier, you can look at, where you can go online and search. There's a lot of websites you can look at. Now the one thing is to make sure is if they ask for a fee to get the scholarship, don't apply. It should be free. All these college scholarships, essays to get a scholarship, it should be free. It shouldn't be where you have to pay a fee for. So if it's a fee for, it's wrong. I would say it's a scam. So don't apply if it asks for a fee. So these are some of the areas. So here it is. You can click into it when you get the file to look for it. And of course, some useful websites. First is foremost is our studentaid.gov. This is where you got to go in there, get your FAFSA form, get it in as fast as possible to put it in every single year. And then, of course, there's some more you can look at. It's a college cost projector. So this is something you can put it in and see how much the cost of school is. And you can also calculate the net cost of college. And there's different tools on the bottom as well. So these are some of the things that you can, when you're home, just look at it, what you can do. So the biggest thing, like I tell people, is what if you spend, it's like getting a job. You work 40 hours and you get this much pay. But since you're a student, what if you spend 40 hours and looking at your scholarship, writing your scholarship, and you end up having a full ride because you happen to get all the scholarship that's eligible there. That's worth your time to do all that. And then your parents will be pretty, pretty, pretty happy probably if you are able to get all the scholarship. The one thing too I forgot to say is, I know I was talking more for like first year students who's gonna go to college. Now there are people who decided to go to community college first to save money. So the one thing about going to community college is you might think that it saves money in first if it was a general course, but if you're going for something more specialized, like let's say I'm gonna say medical school, it might cost you an extra year of school because the school might not take those courses that you took from community college, even though they're considered general courses. So there are these things that like you might, like one of my friends, went to community school for 2 years, then went to University of Michigan, but all her courses transferred, but it was not graded, so there's no GPA. But then the program she went into, they want them to take their own courses at University of Michigan, so she stayed an extra year in school, which pretty much she had to pay another whole year of school. And for financial aid for 5th year, you pretty much you're not really getting a whole lot at all at that point. So that's one thing. Most of financial aid are given to first year students. If you come back after military, you get the military scholarship, or you skip a year, like you wait a year, say, hey, you know what, let me just go out and work for a year and come back. You're not gonna get the same financial aid like a first year student will. And especially if you're gonna get out a year of not going to school, there's a chance that it's harder to get back in the groove to go back to school again. So usually that's where you guys see the pros and cons when it comes to when do you go back to school, when do you want to apply and start really getting the most benefit of student financial aid. Oh yeah, the other thing I was gonna say was, this is for first year to the bachelor degree. Usually for grad school, financial aid doesn't really covers it. A lot of time it's more towards a scholarship, mainly a merit scholarship you get for grad school. So for my grad school, I pretty much pay out of pocket for everything. They did give a loan, of course, but then mainly you pretty much pay that loan off. And the one thing like said earlier, the loan will be there. People nowadays get out a loan with 50,000, 100,000 easily now. But the thing is, if you went to college and you happen to eventually you get a good job, you can pay that loan off, as long as you're not gonna go to college and then decided to buy a house after you get a job for a year, and then buy a car or something where your standard of living is higher because you got a job. If you kept the same standard of living for a year or two and focus on paying your loans, it's much better. Because even though, yes, a lot of times they base your student loan repayment is based on how much you earn, like 2%. So you pay a little bit at a time, you're actually not paying a whole lot. So I recommend is if you can pay as much as possible and lower your standard of living until you pay most of it off. And that's what I did. I worked like 7 days and I just keep working and pay all off in like a year and a half as much as I can. I asked, so it's something it's really hard to do, but it's something that I think what most people tend to forget. They have all other expenses at the end of the day that student loans gets pushed later. All right, and that's it. And thanks, everybody.
That's Yang Yang. A big round of applause, a virtual round of applause for that wonderful presentation. I'm taking it to the chat room right now. If there's anybody that has any questions, thank you for the claps, Chloe. For Yang, now is the time. So please put them into the chat room if you have any specific questions. And while we're collecting those questions, I just want to remind you guys that we still have one more webinar in our series happening next week. Same time, same place, 6 to 7:30. And if you haven't registered for that, make sure to follow the link that you used to register for this one and sign up for that date. Our third and final educational webinar will be next Wednesday, May 27th, from 6 o'clock to 7:30 p.m. And it's called The New Normal During COVID-19, Transitions from High School to College. Our guest speaker next week will be Dr. Sue McKeithen Polish. She's the Education Chair for CAPA, as well as the Bilingual Education Program Director for Macomb Intermediate School District. So Dr. Sue will actually be having a panel of speakers with her, so it'll be an exciting end to our webinar series. So let's check in the chat room if you have any questions. Okay, Mary Jane and Tyler, they're asking, Yahong, if applying for a parent loan, what is the average interest rate for the plus loan?
So right now, the loan is actually went down. It's about 4.53%. And then, of course, for the graduate loans, it's about 6%. So it's 5 to 6. I would say 4 to 5% right now.
Okay, and Chloe has a question. She's asking, what's a good place where you can find scholarships?
Okay, so on the on the PowerPoint, there's that website there that lists at least 10 websites you can go onto. Let's see where. So I have to go to that. Let's see the PowerPoint. There's a slide there that has all the websites that I consider you can find a lot of good scholarships. So, Joseph, are you able to pull up that up again?
Let's see here. If anyone from our IT department, if you can put up the slides again, we just need the last, second to last slide, I think, or the third to last slide. There's a link there. So while we're waiting for the IT, if they can re-upload our PowerPoint, if we can't for some reason, we will have the PowerPoints uploaded. This recording actually of the webinar will be uploaded later on, probably in a week or two. So you'd be able to see all three if you missed any of our webinars. And just a reminder, we have a raffle at the end after the question and answer. For every webinar that you do attend, you have an extra chance in the raffle. And at next week's webinar, we have a special raffle for those students that went to all three. So we're scrolling through. It's all the way, I think, 22. Okay. Yahong, is this it?
No, keep going. Me too. Right here. Yep. Right. Yep. So right here, these are the websites that you can go on there and basically search for all the scholarships. Some are based on talent, some are based on need-based, a lot of them are based on, of course, grades and merit. So a lot of them all require essays, references as well.
Okay, Betsy's asking if they can have a copy of the scholarship list. I think, okay, so from Madonna University, the Mosaic Scholar Leadership Academy, they will be sending that out, they say. And once again, the webinars will be uploaded to the CAPA website by next month. So you can get everything there. And Madonna University says that they'll be sending the videos to everyone that attended. So you'll be able to see them as well and share them with your friends. You're very much welcome, Jenny. Before we get to the raffle, if anyone else has any more questions, please put them in the chat room. I'm just curious if Mano is a student or not. Can you please let me know so I can include you in the raffle if you are? Let's see here. Okay, so while I'm getting the raffle together, Mano, if you are a student, please let me know. Okay, but we're on the level of scholarships here, and for those that are not familiar with Madonna University, they have special options for students in the terms of scholarships as part of their Mosaic Leadership Academy. So perhaps we can have Claire from Madonna University, if you can hop on and explain exactly what Mosaic Leadership Academy is. I think a lot of our students here would be interested. Is that okay, Claire?
Hi, everyone. Hello. Thank you for coming. I do apologize. My video is not working. It's funny because I am the IT person that Joe keeps referring to, and my video is not working. So, welcome. We have a great scholarship program here, and one of my alumnus is actually here. I don't want to put him on the spot, but Thurmond Demario Thurmond is in the house. He is a Mosaic Leadership Academy alumnus. It's a great program. $16,000 scholarship distributed in 4 years. And it's a great chunk of change in terms of money, but I want you to look at it this way. It's a great opportunity to network, to have a cohort, to have friends instantaneously from the very beginning, which is the number one concern that incoming freshmen have. I didn't know this. The number one concern that freshmen have when they enter colleges, am I going to make friends? And actually, one of the reasons why they don't stay around the colleges and universities is that their friendship isn't as stable. So I say all that because with Mosaic Leadership Academy, you have instantaneous friends, you have a network, you have a cohort, you get to know them through the years, and they're literally a family. When Mosaic leaders describe themselves, they describe themselves in terms of family. Right? They use family to describe each other and the relationships that we have each other. So it's a great program. We're 3 years old this September. We have 3 cohorts. You get to really do a lot of things that most schools, I think, when you look at schools, it's you're there to learn professionally. Leadership Academy is special because they round up the student, right? We are co-curricular. You build on your professional development, your leadership skills, right? Your diversity, equity, and inclusion. Your aptitude when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion is enhanced. It's increased because of Mosaic Leadership Academy. And so maybe consider us out, check us out. I will be sending everyone information about Mosaic Leadership Academy because I think we're the best kept secret in town. So thank you, Joe.
Okay, thank you very much, Claire. And let us see here. Okay, so we have Mano is a student. He just graduated from high school. So I think if anyone else has any questions, let me look through the chat really quickly.
Joseph, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hi,
we can hear you. Oh, this is the president of CAPA, Ryan Rosario. Would you like to say anything to our students in attendance?
Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody who's on the line. And I also want to thank Madonna University and CAPA and Joseph doing a great job. And Yahong, especially today, the information that you laid out to share today is very useful. And again, I want to encourage that people to, whatever they missed, to go back and listen to the recordings for especially important links that you can get into. So it's important that there are these opportunities out there that you can get financing that seems in the past it looks overwhelming or very expensive. But again, it goes back to what would be the net cost or net price to get into college. And there's so many ways to do that. And Yahong, thanks for bringing that out. And also want to, Claire from Mosaic, I want to talk a little bit about the Mosaic program. I did experience that a couple of times already. And I tell you, those college students having that bond and collaborative effort and like a family thing. I tell you, Yahong, you agree? And everybody here, first year as a freshman in college, it seems very overwhelming, right? You have new friends, new activities, new responsibilities, but being part of a leadership group or even whatever fraternity or sorority that you might want to get into is really important to adjust to the college life and being part of a family. So programs like leadership program at Madonna University, probably at University of Michigan, offer the same thing. Please take time to be involved, be engaged, and be part of a group or team that you want to be involved in. And that's all I wanted to say. And I want to thank everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ryan, and thank you, Yahong, as well. She has a correction here that I want to announce. Someone was asking about the student loans. It's 4.53. So you can see that in the chat room. So with that, Yahong, thank you very much. It's time for our raffle. So let me get this going. Okay, so we have, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have two students that were here last week. We've got Chloe and Izzy. So they get an extra chance at the raffle. So let me just share my screen here. Okay. There you go. Okay, so this is our wheel of names here. We've got Chloe, Izzy, Ginny, Mary Jane, and Tyler. Chloe again for her second chance, Betsy, Lozano, Izzy for her second chance, and Mano. So I think, is that all correct, everyone? Okay, looks like it. Here we go. So we have three $50 gift cards to be given away to be used for your books or school supplies. So our first winner is Izzy. Okay, so Izzy, you got one. So we're moving you from the list. Here we go with winner number 2. Chloe is our next winner of $50. Congratulations. And our final drawing here. Oh, it's gonna be close. Who is it? It is Mano. Congratulations to all of our winners here. And yay. So once again, congratulations to Izzy, to Mano, and to Chloe for winning those. So for next week's webinar, don't forget, if you were here at today's webinar, you have an extra chance to win during the raffle. And if you were here at all three, you'll have a special raffle just for you guys. So it looks like Izzy and Chloe, if you're next week, you'll be part of that special raffle. So with that, just a reminder, again, our topic for next week's, our third and final webinar is going to be with Dr. Sue McKeithen Polish. She's our education chair at CAPA, as well as the bilingual education program director at Macomb Intermediate School District. It will be from 6 to 7:30 p.m. The new normal during COVID-19 transitions from high school to college. So make sure to register once again if you haven't. Share the information with your friends. So Yahong, thank you very much. Claire, everyone there at Madonna University, Ryan, and everyone on the CAPA board or members that are here. And most especially, thank you very much to the students and parents that partook in today's webinar. So with that, we will be seeing you guys next week. Madonna University will be emailing out information for the winners of the raffle, as well as the webinar and information about Mosaic Scholars. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you guys next week. Take care and goodbye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone.